Sada Shiva Samrambam
Shiva Sarambam
Shankaracharya Majamam
Shankaracharya Madam
Asmaracharya Prantyam
Asma Acharya Parantyam
Vande Guru Parampara.
Vande Guru Parampara.
Okay, guys, this is Dakshinamurti Stotram versus Dhyana Sloka verses 2 to 5 before the main Dakshinamurti, before the Dakshinamurti Stotram starts itself. Just before we go any further, I want to recap over Chin Mudra very, very briefly. Okay, so we have these three fingers which represent mind, body, and senses. Okay, waking state, dream state, and sleep state, or AUM. Okay, this is the inert body, the mind-body sense complex. Okay, which without this, which is Atma, Sat Chit Ananda Atma, this enlivens the body to make the person, and this is the person. Without Atma, the body is inert, which means it's not alive. Okay, this enlivens the body. Okay. This thumb represents Brahman because the thumb is important to the operation of the hand. The thumb is crucial to the hand being able to operate properly. The thumb underlines the ability of the hand. And in Chin Mudra, we place the index finger and the thumb together to form a circle. The circle has no beginning, no end. So this symbolizes that Sat Chit Ananda Atma, I am not separate, I'm not different from Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, all that is. So since I am not separate nor different from all that is, I am all that is, which is like Lagyu Vakyu Vitri, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Okay, so it was just a little recap, guys. So verse 2 of the Dhyana Sloka is Sri Dakshinamurti as teacher of the entire world. In this verse, Sri Dakshinamurti he's seated on the ground near or the banyan tree. He's not seated on the throne. And this is because the ancient teaching tradition of India didn't have a teacher on the throne, had a teacher on the ground. He's seated in front of all rishis, all disciples, and he is the one who gives the knowledge. Sri Dakshinamurti is a source of all spiritual knowledge, all of it. He is the Lord Shiva as teacher, or Ishvara as teacher, of all the three worlds. And the three worlds is a common mythological expression for the whole universe. It includes the earth, it includes the heavens and the space in between. Lord Dakshinamurti is God in the form of Dakshinamurti. And Lord Dakshinamurti is described as skillful in that he is capable of destroying or removing sorrows and suffering, samsara, due to birth and death. And the verse ends with I worship that Dakshinamurti. In regard to the role of, because this verse is about Dakshinamurti as teacher, In the role of a teacher in Vedanta, there is a skill, a communication skill that is never allowing a student to objectify Brahman. Myself and Peru talked about this today, actually in video call, funny enough. And in Shravanam, the student will objectify Brahman. That's natural. That's natural because why? Because the student sees that which brings limitation or brings limitlessness, that which completes them external. That's what samsara is, this erroneous belief that something outside of me completes me. So they will objectify Brahman looking outside. But a teacher doesn't ever allow the student to objectify Brahman. Not ever. When the teacher describes Brahman, the student, they tend to conceive Brahman with attributes described. And the student thinks that Brahman is a concept during Shravanam and a concept during Shravanam and something to be realized later. You are not going to realize Brahman later. The teacher doesn't allow the student to make Brahman into a concept. The teacher communicates in a way that the student, in such a way that the teacher makes the student realize that he is talking about the student himself. When I speak about Brahman, I'm talking about you, you and you. I'm talking about you. You are Brahman. There's absolutely no doubt about this. You are Brahman. It's a fact. So the teacher makes the student realize that he is talking about them, you, and not something to come to later. It's self-evident here and now. You are not going to discover Brahman later because you are Brahman right now. Right now. Brahman's not something that could be discovered because you are Satyam, Jnanam, and Antam Brahman. You are Anantam, infinitude. You're Satchit Nanda Atma. You're Ananda, limitless. That means there's not a point that you don't know what you are. This is why Vedanta doesn't show you what you are. Vedanta doesn't do this because you know what you are. Vedanta says you already know what you are, and it shows you what you are not. It shows the mind, sorry, I rephrase that. Vedanta doesn't show you what you are because you already know what you are, and to reveal this, Vedanta takes away these wrong notions of what you're not. This body-mind-sense complex, okay? Through the process of nati-nati. Not this, not this, not this, not this. Not affected by this, not affected by this, not completed by this, not limited by this, okay? So we're not talking about some Brahman. We're talking about, Swami Paramatmananda has this word, Brahmanas, which is your own nature. I'm just looking through Swami Paramatmananda's notes on Dakshinamurti as well. There's another point that I want to make here, if I can find it quickly. Yeah, find it now. So, what do you worship? If you have not attained moksha, what do you worship? If you're not enlightened, what do you worship? You worship Dakshinamurti, so that I worship Dakshinamurti so that I gain moksha, so that I gain enlightenment, that enlightened perspective, so that the mind gains that enlightened perspective. So before gaining enlightenment, I do namaskara, moksha namaskara to Dakshinamurti. But let's say that I've already gained Brahma Vidya. Let's say that I'm enlightened. Should I worship? And if I worship, why would I worship? This is something I had spoke to Swami Churi about as well. I need some clarity on this last year. So the person has gained enlightenment, the enlightened perspective. The mind is enlightened. But should you worship then after that? And if so, what do you worship? So what's the purpose then? If you've already attained enlightenment, why would you even pray? Why would you even worship? And after gaining the knowledge, after gaining enlightenment, the person continues the same worship because it's an expression of gratitude, not for you, Brahman, but for the person, for the process, for the release, the freedom from suffering. That's still applicable. So the Jnani can continue to worship the Lord, same as the Ajnani, the person without the enlightened mind, a person without the Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Brahman, and the person with Brahma Vidya. The person with Brahma Avidya, lack of knowledge of Brahman, the person with Brahma Vidya, knowledge of Brahman. So the Jnani can continue to worship the Lord. And when the Jnani does, the enlightened person does namaskar to the Lord, it's an attitude. What is the attitude? And the attitude is, thank God I am saved. Thank God I have got out. This is what Swami Paramarthananda says in verse 2 of Dhyana Sloka and Dakshinamurti Stotram. Thank God I am saved. Thank God I have got out. Either way is okay. Why would the enlightened person say this? Because the enlightened person is still a person. You know? We don't bypass the word just because the person's enlightened. The person still is here. There's still a person here and with you, temporarily existing. It's just that the mind knows that I am not this person. The mind knows that I am Brahman. The person's still here. So two things going on at the same time. Okay. There's no bypassing. Swami Paramarthananda teaches here that even the enlightened person will pray to God, to the Lord, to Dakshinamurti, thank God I am saved. Thank God I have got out. Where's the bypassing? There's no bypassing. That's applicable for this person. That's applicable for Swami Paramarthananda, for Puja Swamiji, Swami Dhyana, Swami Tapananda, all these people. Okay. It's like the Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Okay. So verse 3 is in regard to teaching in silence and destroying the doubts. So there's this amazing picture, this poetic picture that is being painted up to verse 3. Verse 4 and 5 is a prayer of gratitude, but up to verse 3 here is this poetic picture that has rich in symbolism. And we picture this, that at the root of the banyan tree, the students are old, but the teacher, Dakshinamurti, is young. Swami Tapananda teaches that, or explains that typically a teacher is expected to be elderly. It's a conventional idea, not only in modern times, but in ancient times as well. And it's based on logical reason, that we acquire wisdom as we grow older. At least we hope to acquire it. We give the benefit of the doubt to seniors that they must have gained wisdom over the time. Swami Paramarthananda teaches in verse 3, and you can find his Dakshinamurti Stotram online, or I can give it to you in a group if you want. He teaches in verse 3, typically about 75 years. So you have the 4 quarters, 425 years, 425 years, and Grahasta and forest dweller, and the 75-year mark is sannyas. So that's when you're meant to have gained Brahma Vidya around that time. Okay. This is why it's expected that the teachers are older, because they've matured more, they've worked through their stuff, they've attained enlightenment, that kind of thing. So the longer and wider the beard grows, the more evidence of wisdom. And this is where the origin of the idea came that the teacher should have a white beard. But that's not the picture painted in this mantra, not in this verse, because here the teacher's young and the students are old. And that's not the only thing that's different, that's amazing. The other thing is that the teaching of the Guru takes place in silence. If we sit and teach in silence, what's the result? Nothing. But when Lord Dakshinamurti is teaching in silence, the doubts of the students are destroyed. And this is astonishing. So the picture that's painted through these verses, it's a poetic representation of the teachings of Vedanta. Because what's being taught is beyond words, beyond language, beyond concepts, and beyond ideas. This is why, like I previously said in verse 2, that Vedanta doesn't show you what you are. Why? Me and Puri were speaking earlier on about this. Because you are indescribable. Because you are Nerval Kapil. You're a Nerval Kapil without form. And what are words? Form. There's absolutely no way that it can be sufficiently explained or showed. There's absolutely no way that Nerval Kapil, that which has no form, can be explained by using form. It makes sense. There's no form. You are formless. So how can form express what you are? The word formless doesn't even express it. In actual fact, there's no way to express it. There's no expression. So the Guru teaches in silence. The teachings still take place. And the teaching of Vedanta is present, represented in Chin Mudra, Dhyana Mudra. And it's the symbol of Lord Dakshinamurti signifies through his hand gesture. Notice the hand gesture, Chin Mudra as well, and other implications as well. This is to do with bypassing. These three fingers are still visible. Yes, there is a focus on this never-ending circle of non-difference and non-separation between I and all that is. But these three fingers are still in play. They're not being hidden. It's not this, is it? It's not this. It's this. Okay, so we're still taking into account the mind-body-sense complex. It's another hidden meaning being revealed in Chin Mudra. The placement of the hands is very important in the mudra. Yeah. A distinction is being made, but the distinction is not being made to such a degree that it's being eroded completely. The distinction's still in play. This is why they're out. Okay. There's no bypassing. Just because you're a Brahmin doesn't mean a person has to bypass anything in life. In actual fact, moksha, enlightenment, is about not bypassing. Moksha is about having the freedom to go into an experience if you want to or not, with no judgments, no idealism, no fear, even if there is fear. Do not worry about fear. Yeah. It's the most beautiful thing. Even though the body has fear, do not care about the fear. Do not be worried about the fear. Do not worry if there's an absence of happiness. Do not worry. Do not be sad about the presence of sadness. That's freedom. This is what Vedanta is showing us all here. So the symbolism is provided in these three initial mantras. That's verse 2, 3, and 4. Or verse 1, 2, and 3. And the remaining two mantras is they praise Dakshinamurti. That's a prayer worship. So verse 4 is the medicine for illness of worldly life. And it begins poetically. Salutations to the one who is the treasure of all knowledge. Not treasure doesn't mean material wealth like gold or money or anything like that. The treasure is among all forms of knowledge. It says all knowledge. You can be really rich, or can you be really rich and still be miserable in life? Of course. Many people are. Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you're happy. It doesn't mean that. Sorry, my nose is running. It can be easily made in a rhetorical point, that having too much money can actually cause misery. That's been known as well, yeah. So, but also on the flip side of that, not enough money can also make you suffer. So a lack of money makes you suffer, and an excess of money can make you suffer. So money's not the answer. Since material wealth doesn't guarantee peace, happiness, and contentment, what does? And the answer is spiritual wisdom. Because, like me and Pura were saying earlier on, it's this constant contentment. Vedanta offers, if you're going to stick at it, Vedanta offers, with the right effort, Purnatvam, constant contentment, Tripti, perfect satisfaction, constant contentment, that you are, and Vedanta reveals that you are Atma Ananda Swarupa, that the I consciousness is, that the nature of you is limitlessness. That's what Ananda Atma Swarupa means. So Lord Dakshinamurti is worshipped here as the most valuable treasure among all knowledge. Dakshinamurti is worshipped as medicine for the illness of worldly life. This is illness or disease. And a good way of describing it is that we absolutely exhaust ourselves, make ourselves sick by constantly chasing and seeking happiness outside of ourselves. It's a never-ending bloody rat race. It really is. Yeah, it is. Like Jesus. It's horrifying, actually. You know, I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's horrifying. So we are searching in the wrong places at the wrong, at all the, searching in the wrong places at the right times. Searching always in the externally, in the external world. And we know from Drikta Rebecca that that's not going to work. The true source of happiness is found within. Happiness is within. That bumper sticker. There's something to be said about the wisdom of bumper stickers. So Lord Dakshinamurti himself is the one who revels in one's own self. And this is what Vedanta, this is what Moksha Sadhana, Vedanta Sadhana, Shravana Manam Nidhyasana will reveal to you the ability to do. Once Vedanta reveals to you what you are, you revel in yourself, which means you can have an object, an experience, a relationship, a job, a holiday, whatever, and that's totally fine. We don't spiritually idealize that we shouldn't have those things. We're householders. But we can also not have them, and that's totally fine too. Either way is good. And that's constant contentment. We can enjoy something because the utility of what something enjoyable is remains. We're not creating that white Vedanta zombies. We're allowed to live our lives and be normal. Well, whatever that is. We're allowed to live our lives and be happy. Well, we're allowed to live our lives and be content. Let's say that. And just enjoy the human experience. So, this is why Lord Dakshinamurti is worshipped as a medicine for this illness. He cures this illness by removing the ignorance to reveal the knowledge of what you are, what you always knew. The verse carries on, salutations are unto the teacher of all the worlds of people in the form of Dakshinamurti. Salutations unto the form that is facing south. Yajya Murti Dakshina Abhimukha. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Okay, verse 5. Verse 5 ends in a beautiful, really important part. Verse 5, Lord Sri Dakshinamurti as one's own consciousness. The verse is salutations unto that Sri Dakshinamurti, who is the meaning of Om. Salutations to the one who is described by the word Om, whose form is only pure knowledge. In other words, salutations to the one who is an embodiment of knowledge. We have a quote from Puja Swami Dhyana Saraswati included in Swami Dhammananda's notes. Om represents the underlying order that sustains all creation. And to one who understands the true significance of the word, it is indeed the name of the Lord. Om is 3 seed syllables, A, U, and M. Creation, sustain, and destroy. Physical, subtle, gross. Waking state, the dream state, sleep state. Om, so in this context, Om is universe. But for you guys that have, you've done Omkara Vichara in Mandukya, Om is not just that. Om represents Turiya, which is Brahman. So this is why it says, even though Om, and one part of the yanam of Om is the universe, the real fruit, which is found in the gap, Turiyam Nirval Kappa Samadhi, remember we've looked at that a little bit. Om represents the underlying order that sustains all creation. Ultimately, it looks as if Om is just about the creation, sustain, destroy of the universe, destroying of the universe. But why we look in the gap in between the recitations of Om is to find that gap, which is Nirval Kappa without form. So in that gap, there is no form. So in that gap is Brahman. So Om represents ultimately not the universe. Om represents Brahman. Sri Dakshinamurti is described as taintless, free, and unaffected by anything whatsoever. And here we come to the best part. Consciousness. This is still part of verse 5 of Dhyana Sloka. This reveals that the consciousness remains unaffected by your thoughts, even when you're angry, sad, depressed, or frustrated. Whatever the thoughts are, absolutely whatever they are, whatever those emotions are that you're having now, whatever they are, consciousness, you, remains unaffected. That is a fact. Why? Yes. How come? Well, because anger, sadness, depression, frustration, any thoughts and any emotions are consciousness also. So of course consciousness remains unaffected by consciousness. Yeah? How can it not be? How much do the waves, if there's a big tide, a big tsunami wave, how much is water affected? Water's not affected. Forms do not affect the underlying reality. How much is the clay affected or impacted by pot? Doesn't even make sense. I hope it doesn't make sense, that question. Clay is not affected by pot. It's not separate or different from pot. So anger, sadness, depression, frustration, anything, whatever the thoughts, emotions are, consciousness remains unaffected. And since I is consciousness, that claim of I is consciousness, it means that I am consciousness. Both that word and what that word is referring to in this mind is consciousness. Since consciousness is all it is, we've said this before, I am consciousness. What is consciousness? Is it Vaida? What is it Vaida? Everything that is. What is everything that is? Limitless. What does that mean? It means we're not lacking. There's no separation, no difference. Moksha. So these Dhyana slokas, they're technically not part of the stotram, but they're chanted before the stotram, and this is because it's helpful to develop an image in one's mind for the sake of prayer and meditation. Okay, guys. 6 minutes. Any questions? Guys?
Little one.
Okay.
Like O is A-U-M, but they all also write it like O-M. Why? It's just because it's easy to do it O-M?
We don't write it AUM. It's wrote. It's the way it's wrote. It's meant to be wrote as OM. The A and U come together. It's the way. I'm not qualified to teach Sanskrit, but the A and U come together and it's an O. Okay. That's why we're not meant to write it as AUM either. AUM is just for phonetic purposes.
Oh.
Okay. So that's just phonetically to make the sound OM, but it's wrote as OM. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Good. If you're free tomorrow, we'll go have another go tomorrow, yeah? We'll go to verse 1 now of Dakshinamurti Stotram. Okay. All right then. Well, it might actually be, I'll see what ways Swami Ramananda's teaching it. It might be more than verse 1. I think he actually does. Let's see, maybe verse 1 to 3, but I'll try and follow his lead a bit, okay? We'll just go with the flow. Who cares? We'll get it done. Okay, let's go with the flow. Go ahead, Judy. Nice dancing. Okay, guys. See you. I'm trying to put you on thing there. Okay. See you later, now. Bye now. Bye. Namaste, everybody. Namaste. Bye.